Fashion besties, thank you so much for
Mhm.
joining us here today on Fashion Crimes Podcast Friday. Again, we have such an amazing guest. I don't want to sit here and yap about what happened last week, even though we had an incredible guest last week. Kay Designs, the winner of Dress My Tour. Hope you caught that episode because you're going to want to get to know her. That's all I have to say right now. However, I would like everyone to know that I have manifested a new friend, a new woman friendship, a new personal stylist fashion bestie here in the ATL. How lucky am I right now? I want to introduce creative director, wardrobe stylist, personal stylist extraordinaire, Stacey Bell. Welcome to the Fashion Crimes Podcast.
Thank you. That was quite the greeting. Thank
John,
you.
John, let's get some applause here. Stacey, I got introduced to you, but by my other new bestie, Dana, who is friends with Jonathan, and now we're friends. And she's like, "OMG, do you know Stacey?" I'm like, "No, why don't I know her?" And then she's like, "Get on that." We went to lunch, and I could not tear myself away from you. That's
I
how in
know it
love
was
with
fun.
you I am. So, can you please give us a brief history about the who, what, when, where, why of you?
Sure. I'm from Philadelphia originally. My husband and I moved here about 25 years ago. I have two children, an 18 and a 17-year-old. Um, I come from a retail background. My grandfather was a men's clothier. He used to suit men, and I just remember watching my grandfather with a tape measure around his neck at all times. And I think that that sort of just seeped into my soul. I started doing, I worked in a couple retail stores here and met a bunch of people and then had my babies and then started going and cleaning out my clients' closets and doing some personal shopping. And eventually I started taking their things and reselling it. And I was working out of my basement for years. Then I moved to, I've been in four different locations in Sandy Springs, but I am in Sandy Springs and I have a studio and it's called the Style Sanctum. And it's called the Style Sanctum because sanctum means an inviolably private place free of desecration and destruction. And when people come here, I want them to totally just be. So that's sort of like my history of how I got here.
Thank you for defining sanctum because I like to get mad at Jonathan because he talks in SAT words, and I'm like, who says that? Who says
Right,
that? His vocabulary is much more extensive than mine.
right.
Anyway, so I love that you explain that. So let's back up for just a second. So you
Yeah.
said you were styling people and you started taking their things and selling it. So can you explain why you started doing that? Or were you like, I know
Sure.
somebody who will wear that?
I think I started doing it because I did find some consignment stores around the area and we were taking their things and my clients were all, wealthy clients. They had really high-end clothing, not all designer, but mid to high end. And we were taking it to these consignment stores and they say, after 3 months, they donate it and um, they see a couple checks maybe and that's it. So uh, I just decided to try to start selling it to some of my clients that are not my Sandy Springs clients. And I mean, again, this is going back almost 20 years, but
Mhm.
introducing, I mean, at the time, like True Religion jeans to my clients that at the time were like only wearing, say, like Miss Me jeans. Right. And so back to some stuff that you have said, it's like just sometimes time to upgrade. But like that was going back, 20 years. People were not spending $250 on a pair of jeans.
Mhm.
Well, some people were, but my side of the clients were not. And now I forgot the question.
I just said, tell us about how you started selling clothes. Like, were you like, OMG, I think I know somebody who can wear that? And you said you were taking the stuff to consignment
Sort of.
stores.
I just figured I have the clientele that would be interested in the kind of clothing that I was taking from my clients because it's the kind of clothing that I would sell.
Sure.
So it wasn't like with somebody specific, but a friend of mine started doing it out of her basement. We did it for on and off for about a year and a half, maybe two or three shows a year. And then I just decided to move it to my basement, and I got it in my basement, and I worked by private appointment, and that's just sort of, and I also came with a bunch of my clients from the retail stores that I was working in. So they came with me. And at the time, most of my inventory was from my clients, so it was pre-owned. But then eventually I started taking things from the stores that I was buying from or doing the personal shopping at. And then I was selling that merchandise, which is brand new, tags were on it, and I was selling it for 50% off of retail. So that's just sort of how, and it really just took on a life of its own.
Right. Oh, believe me,
It
I've seen
really
your
did.
showroom. It's OOC. It's
Yeah.
you got a lot of stuff. Not OOC unorganized. It's just wall to
Oh, it's
wall.
organized. It's, yeah.
Yeah,
And I'm in a very small space right now, and it is, yes,
it's
a lot
wall
of
to
stuff.
wall. So when you're working with, first of all, tell us your average age of people that you work with.
I would say anywhere between 40 and 70 is my average. I know that
Okay.
that's sort of a wide range, but I have a lot of clients that come with their moms. Most of my clients have been my clients for like 17 years. Like I do get new clients, but for the most part, if I have a client once, they're a client forever. So it's sort of that range.
So tell us, what do you consider the number one issue that people have when they come to see you and say, "Hey, I need styling help"?
I think they, especially the women that come to me being between 40 and 70, we are in our, I'm 56. We are in our midlife. So there's a transition that happens. And I think that people get lost a little bit as to who they are. They've been moms for so long, or, whether they work or wherever, whatever it is that they've done, they've just been this one thing for so long without really feeling the need to have to reinvent themselves. And when I say reinvent themselves, I don't mean like completely different. I mean refine what's already there, just upgrade what's already there. And so I guess for me, the clients that come to me, they don't want to be hassled by going to a store. The majority of them don't know how to put black and white together. So when I put an outfit together, I'm like, okay, here's a pair of pants, and here's a top, and here's a jacket, and here's 10 different ways to wear it. And everything is very purposeful. So when they come here, they're not wasting time. It's a very serene environment. And they walk out and they have a wardrobe.
Why do you think women, I know what I think, but why do you think women, and I shouldn't say women, people hate to shop? Why do you think what do you think the number one reason is?
They get overwhelmed. They don't know what they're looking for.
Hmm.
I think even my clients that do like to shop right now are like, everything is so fucking expensive. Like, it's ridiculous, which is part of the reason why this business model has really always worked, because I sell everything at a discount. So it could be brand new merchandise, it could be pre-owned. I'm not seasonal necessarily, and I'm also not trendy. So I think that a lot of people, they go in and they only see one thing, and it's, they're just overwhelmed. They're going to gravitate to the same thing every time,
What is the
or
most,
they can't find anything.
well, true. What is the most common complaint you think most of your clients have about their bodies?
Oh God. I mean,
The most popular. I don't,
I don't even I like I mean I don't even know. Like, it starts from head to toe. You know what I
yeah.
mean? Like, there's some people that just, it's all over. For me, it's my stomach and my arms. For somebody else, it might be their ass. Like, that is just such an open-ended question. It's just
I
all
think it's
over.
I think it's the stomach too. And
Hmm.
there's a lot of ways to camouflage that, if you will. However, people have a very difficult time grasping why this happens to their bodies. And some people, can hide it pretty well. Some people can't hide it pretty well. I think that it is a soul crusher I really do. I think that when you wake up in the morning and all of a sudden you have a stomach because you went through menopause or whatever your story is.
Mhm.
I think that you think that is the beginning of you not being able to achieve style goals, which I think is false. But do you agree that a lot of women get into their heads and they talk themselves out of a lot of things?
100%. And the most interesting thing that you brought that up is that that's the issue that I'm personally having. I've had two C-sections. I've been through menopause. I've had this stomach thing. I think my stomach has dropped, and all of a sudden there's this bulge there that was never there before. I've never had a flat stomach, but it's never been like this. And I have a wedding next weekend, and I cannot, for myself, I can't find anything that I'm comfortable wearing. Some people are more comfortable putting Spanx on, and if you see the roundness, I'm not. I don't need to be flat, but doesn't make me feel comfortable. So I think the number one thing is I can put something on somebody and they can look fantastic in it. But if they don't feel good in it, they are not going to pull it off. So
Agreed.
I'm a big proponent of like, I can dress you. And sometimes it's outside of what they used to dress like when they bring up things like, oh, 20 years ago, I used to be able to wear this. Well, like, it's not 20 years anymore. Like, we
Hmm.
just have to embrace who we are, dress for our bodies now, try to feel as good as we can. And then in the meantime, if we can try to fix something, we have to make the effort to fix it. If you get up every morning and you feel like shit and you're not making an effort to fix it, then don't complain.
Yeah.
So,
John, can we get an alarm bell there? I mean, I think that is very similar to a lot of things going on a diet, organizing your house, starting an exercise program, installing discipline in your home. I think it can really apply to a lot of things.
yeah, yeah.
How, because you were so kind to share with us that about the issue that's bothering you about your body, how do you handle, hey, my body doesn't look the same anymore? How do you cope with that every day? And what advice can you give to others?
Um, so I actually feel in life that my experiences are meant to help other people, whether it's dressing, whether it's an issue that I had with, a parent or a family member or a kid or whatever. I do feel like this is the world that this is how women come together by being super honest about things, by sharing stories. So somebody else is like, oh my God, I feel the same way. I don't feel alone. Or let's talk about that because maybe you have a different perspective than me. So um, I I don't like my arms either, right? Like I have this thing now that's happening down here to cover my arms. I don't wear tanks, right? There's not a lot you can do about that. So I don't wear tank tops. And then that way I don't feel uncomfortable. It becomes a little bit more challenging sometimes to find a dress, which I need to find. I don't even own a dress. I know everybody's laughing at that, but
You have
I
four
actually,
racks of dresses.
I,
Excuse
pro-
me.
I just went through my stuff I mean, I go through my stuff all the time and I pulled a few things and I know none of them are going to fit because I've tried everything on. But like for me, it's like, you know how like they say psychologists are like make the worst parents, like
Uh,
because they don't psychology their kids, you know what I mean? I'm
doctors and
like that with
nurses.
styling.
Doctors
Right.
and nurses are
So
the worst patients.
correct. Correct. And a stylist, I guess, is the worst for yourself. But I wear a lot of cute leggings with like a cute tunic and I pepper on jewelry and I make sure that my nails are done and
Mhm.
put makeup on. And so there are things that I do around comfort and I'm all about comfort. So even when I'm wearing leggings and a cute tunic, like today, I feel sort of cute. Like I like the color, I like the pattern, so I feel good. When you feel good, it changes. It makes me forget a little bit about my stomach or my arms.
I got you. I think that's great advice. But I would like to give you an arm lecture real quick because to me, that is a close second to what
Yep.
most women complain about.
And I would say the chin is another one, but go ahead. Go ahead.
Okay, so here's what I think. And you know this. What you see is not what I see. So
Totally.
there is no arm police. There's no chin police. But be that as it may, it doesn't make people feel less uncomfortable. And I
It
get
doesn't
that.
matter. I
I
don't
get
give a
that.
shit what people think about me. I've never given a shit what people think about me. I'm a highly confident human being. But again, if I'm not feeling comfortable and confident, it will show,
I
right?
agree.
I'm a big believer of energy. And so when I'm in a good mood and things are, and I feel good, my energy gets projected out. When I am not feeling good, that energy affects other people around me. And that is very important to me. And so with the women I dress, it's about the energy that you're taking back out into the world. And clothing, people can say it's superficial. I mean, fuck that, because it's just not superficial. It literally is the first thing people see. They don't see your personality. They don't see it. They see your clothing. They see, and it doesn't mean that you have to be put together all the time or you have to be perfect. Like, I love a t-shirt and jeans, but it just means how you present yourself is how that's going to be reflected out into the world.
I totally agree. And people who are tripped up about their arms, it doesn't mean you have to wear a strapless top or a tank or something that I'm wearing a halter dress right now. You don't have to do that.
You
But
have amazing arms, by the way.
well, thank you. That's very sweet.
You're
But
welcome. Welcome.
you can wear a cap sleeve. You can wear a short sleeve. You can wear a sleeve to the elbow. It really doesn't mean that you can never show your arms.
Right.
But I like to make the point that most people aren't looking at that. You want people, and tell me if you agree, to when you have the energy that you're talking about of confidence, I look good, I feel good, I feel pretty good about my life, at least right now. That's
Mhm.
why I'm wearing this or that or at this wedding, and I feel like I look good. Then the clothes are secondary. You want people to
Yeah.
notice you for you, and it is human nature for people to make a 3 second judgment about you before you say anything. That
Yeah.
is just life. So when you are beat down, when you look defeated, when you feel like, or you look like you rolled out of bed, and not every day is a home run, but people can sense that. And if you don't believe me, just go to the airport. That's what I always say. You
Mhm.
want to feel better about your life? Go to the airport and sit there for an hour and watch the tragedy walk by you every day. Some people look great. Some people have their hair done. It doesn't have to be clothes that I like, but I know that you're dressed and I know that you have an
Mhm.
updated bag and I know that you feel good about yourself. I mean, I have 1,000 pet peeves I can speak about, but I loved how you brought up the energy because
Mhm.
when people feel the shift, you can't go back. You can't go
No,
back
no,
to, you just can't.
no. It's like the basis of my business. It's really like the basis of what I do is not about selling clothing, although that is how I make money. But the basis of this business has always been about making people feel good about themselves. And so much of what I do is about pulling out layers of things that are keeping people blocked. I'm super intuitive. So typically if I don't see a client of mine that I haven't seen in a long time, they're not ready to talk about something because they know as soon as they walk in, I'm going to know that there's something going on and I'm going to make them talk about it. And the clothing is it's always sort of been like a means for me to have that connection with people and to be able to give something back to them so that when they walk back out into the world and they put like to this day I have clients that will be like, oh my god, I had that shirt that you sold me 15 years ago and every time I look at it I think of you. And if that elicits a good feeling for them, then that is what I set out to do. And same thing with jewelry. You know what I mean? Like jewelry holds energy. People buy jewelry for different reasons for different things. You have a piece of jewelry that you bought for, say, a special birthday, you're always going to remember that as being a special piece of jewelry. So it's going to hold that energy. And I really try to teach people how to like unburden themselves and take in more positive energy.
I'm going to switch gears a little bit.
Yeah.
When another common complaint that people talk about, at least to me, is money, having a financial block, because if you don't shop a lot, then you don't know how much things cost. So then if you go somewhere or you look online, you're like, I'm not spending $700 on one thing, which is
Yeah.
completely valid, completely valid. But can you explain a little bit of why you think, speaking about clothing, that it seems that the prices are really high. Can you talk about why
Oh, I
that
mean, I
is?
just think it's just everything since COVID. Everybody's trying to catch up. It's like why the price of tuna fish has, doubled. It's just everybody's trying to catch up. Things are so weird right now. Like everything is so weird right now. Prices for food and prices for just everything is just off right this second. But I just think the cost of doing business has increased. Um, and I mean, the woman that I've been going to for massages for the literally 17 years, she just increased her prices. Like everybody we all have to make a living. There's a quote from Gloria Steinem that I found in 1998 in like a Cosmo magazine. I mean, I haven't read Cosmo in 1,000 years. And it says, success is doing what you love and having a positive impact on people's lives without starving to death. So there is this, I have to get paid for what I do, right? I need to make a living. But what I'm doing is really from a good place. I'm not just trying to shove clothing onto people and being like, okay, see you, you're out the door,
Mhm.
like, and not give a shit. There's so much intention and meaning behind it. But I think that it's like if you haven't bought a bed or a mattress in a really long time and you went shopping and you're like, holy shit, mattresses are 4 or 5 or 6 or 7 thousand dollars. Like you just don't know what you don't know. And if you haven't done it for a while, you don't know. My clients, for the most part, are, I wouldn't necessarily say shoppers, but they know quality and they are mid to high end to designer shoppers. So when they come to me and there's a shirt that would have been $300 and it's 150, they're like, that's a great deal. So and I talk about budgets. And for the clients that I know exactly how much they're comfortable spending. But for newer clients, I always talk about budgets with them. What are you looking for? Oh, you're looking for a wardrobe. What is your expectation of what you want to spend total? And then they give me a number and I say to them, okay, I can do this for you or I can do this for you. And I'm very, very honest with people about, the money part. Sorry, a fly just flew. Um, sorry about that. Um, so, to your point, like I don't, I don't, the world right now is just inflamed. That's like a good way, I feel like,
I
to
think that's a
describe
great
it.
description, especially in the world of fast fashion. I just did a whole sustainability episode, and people go to the mall because they think they're getting a deal. They go to big box stores because they want to find something on sale. And to me, if you are not a seasoned shopper, you are lighting money on fire to get a shirt to sit in the closet with the tags on it. And when I go to people's homes and I see clothes with the tags on it, I'm mean and I make them add it all up. And then I'm like, you just set that
Yeah,
money on fire, you
right.
know?
Yeah. I
Well,
mean, listen, as a consigner, I love when people have tags on stuff that they don't want anymore.
of course.
But, but I think that like people that goes back to they go shopping and they buy the same things or they think, oh, this is on sale and I'm going to wear it, but they're never going to wear it because A, they don't know how to wear it or it's just too outside of their box or for whatever reason. But I think that happens more often than not. You know what I mean? Like it's just there's good shoppers and there's bad shoppers.
What do you think about? I have a thing with women who dress too old. What is
Mhm.
your best advice when you see someone who is dressing beyond their years?
I mean, if they're my client, I'm telling them you're done with the mini skirts or you know what I mean? Like I'll
Right.
be honest with them
Yeah.
about it and then I'll show them another version, but maybe it's not a short mini skirt. Maybe it's a little bit longer, or so I'll again, it's like just refining. Um, I think that there's probably less people in the world like us as far as being so hyper conscious about fashion than there are people that just don't care. And the people, it's just not that. My best friend, I love her to death. Like it's just not her priority. Do you know what I mean? Like, does it? There are times where I'm like, take that top off. Like you're no, you know what I mean? There are times that I do that. However, it's just not her, she just doesn't care. It's just not her priority. She has a good job. She's, so I just think that there's lots of different varieties of people. And then there's people that feel great about their bodies and they wear things that are probably inappropriate, but it makes them feel sexy or good or whatever. You know what I mean? So it's like you also don't want to rain on somebody and body shame them, which is a huge part of what I would never do. I'm all about making people feel good about themselves, not making them feel like shit, you know, but it's a fine line.
I think it is a fine line too. And I think that when I get in the elevator with somebody and I look at you and I'm like, I could make you 10 years, I mean, not saying this, but saying this in my head, I could make you look 10 years younger. They don't know what they don't know. And maybe
They
they
don't
were
know.
never told they were pretty. And maybe they grew up with 7 brothers. And maybe they grew up in a single parent home with just their dad, or their mom, was somebody who was very financially worried and conscious all the time. And so then people grow up as adults and then they don't think it's okay to spend money. And I always tell people, relax. I'm not telling you to go out and buy a Chanel bag. That's not what we're doing here. I'm telling you that you have the right to feel good about the clothes that you wear. And you can skimp so many other ways. Cut off your cable. Do this. I don't
Cut off your cable
care.
for clothes.
Yeah. I mean, like there's just a bunch of different
Yeah.
ways that you can pull money from other places if that is an issue for you,
Yeah.
because you don't want to make clothing a priority. And a
Yeah.
lot of people, I've styled teenagers before and their parents look so bad and they go, no, 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 don't look at me, because it's too hard. It's too hard because
Mhm.
if you have if you are in your comfort zone, if you are in your, excuse me, fashion comfort zone and you don't want to be knocked out of the ring, you will never be knocked out of the ring. It's the people that show up for you that say, oh my God, what do I do? And I love people like that because they're open. And I think you really have to be open to work with somebody like you. If you're not open, then you're
Yeah, I'm
fighting.
not for everybody. I'm not for everybody. I very, very infrequently in my 20-year career doing this have I worked with somebody one time. It's happened. And then there's other clients where like they've been clients for a really long time and I just don't go deep with them.
Ah,
They come in here, they buy a wardrobe, we have a nice time together, we have fun, but it is not deep. Majority of my clients that come in here are definitely looking to shed something, to transform. Transformation is really, I think, like one of the best words to describe me or to describe what I do. I really, truly, truly help people transform how they feel, how they look, how, it's just the inside out. It's all of that. So if if you want to transform, I'm an excellent person to come to. If you are somebody that is shut down and closed off, I'm probably not going to be your cup of tea. And, I'm direct and I'm honest and it always comes from a good place, but not everybody wants to hear it. And so, that's my lesson. That's my cross to bear in life, is learning who to talk to about it, open up with, or whatever. But over the years, I've gotten much better at that. But generally speaking, if somebody finds their way to me, there's a deeper meaning behind it.
do you get a lot of tears?
Oh yeah.
I do too.
Yeah. I intuitively, I'll start talking about something or telling a story that they connect with in some way. Or I, I, I mean, and this is sort of not about this particular podcast, but like I do read cards for people. It's not scary stuff. It's all angel cards. It helps people heal. It peels the layers of people. And so I think that when I touch on something, and I have no idea if I've never met somebody before and I touch on something and all of a sudden they start crying, I know in that moment that's why they were meant to come to me.
I
They
love
needed
that.
to release it. They needed a different perspective. They needed whatever it was, they were drawn to me. And that was my purpose.
I just am now learning at 51 how to release my childhood trauma and not be so identified with it and act like it's the only story I have. And I'm just learning that now. I have a lot of stories, but why is
Girl, I
that?
can help you with that.
Yeah, I mean, but again, I think a lot of people
Yeah.
can relate to that. Why is it the only story you're telling? Because you think that story defines you. I have realized through my work that yeah, it's a story that I have. It's not the only story. And
Totally.
until I said that to myself, then I was like, I'll pick another story. And it feels so good to push that aside. It really does. And
I think the only way you do that is to be vulnerable, and
yep,
not everybody wants to be vulnerable. And vulnerability is a tough thing. It's tough to crack.
it is because you got to be ready and you
Yep.
got to be open. And in clothing, you do it through clothing
Hmm.
and style and jewelry. And I think that when you understand what people are going through, I think it makes for a smoother ride, for lack of a better word, for the client, because that way you're building the trust, obviously.
When I get a call from a client, especially a new client, and they the next day or 2 days later, they're like, "Oh my God, I left you and I felt this lightness that I haven't felt in so long." They felt that lightness because they were able to just be honest, tell their truth, right? And just sort of purge things that they've been like holding on to. And that translates to the clothes. If you're in a rut with clothes, it's because you're just right here with the
You're
clothes,
stuck.
right? But then once you open up, and I say to people too, you don't have to buy a thing from me, but you have to try everything on that I pull. That's the rule. So you don't like it, I'm going to know right away. If you don't like it, I'm going to take it off of you. If you hem and you haul, I'm not letting you buy it because I know it's going to sit in your closet. But when I put something on you and I see you stand up a little straighter in the mirror and all this, I can feel the energy come out of you that's been sort of suppressed. And that is really, like such a gift to give to somebody. And I love sharing that with people because when they walk out onto the street, it's going to change everything about their day, how they talk to their spouse or their kids or another person walking by. And, you know, it's transformative.
I will never forget. I wish I could remember who it was that he was a spiritual teacher and he said, you should be ashamed to die. If you were to die tomorrow, you should be ashamed because the world is waiting for you very patiently to show the world, the world is waiting for you to show them or
Right.
it your gifts.
Right.
And if you know you're an artist and you're like, I don't want, and you push, push, push,
We're
it
the
will,
worst kind. Artists are the worst.
yeah. I mean, then you're like, I have to work at the bank. I have to work here. You do something very polar opposite of what that is. And not everybody has the luxury of choosing the career of their choice. But if you feel that pull inside you, it can metastasize and turn into something really not good for your
Mhm.
energy or create a block or sickness or something like that. So I think guiding people to understand that it is about the clothes, but it's kind of not. And that's what
Yep.
I think you and I are on
The
the
clothes
same
are a
road.
segue. Yeah, the clothes are a segue to something
Yes.
much bigger and deeper. And by the same token, people that are not open to healing themselves, right? They wear clothes as a facade to all
Mhm.
of it. I had a very good friend who used to have crazy hair and she looked like she's crazy, but she
It's
used to wear the most expensive clothes and jewelry, and she adorned herself in all of this stuff because it was a way for her to sort of, block the world. You know what I mean? To give this different persona of what she was hiding and not wanting to let go of. So I think it works both ways.
I do too. And I'm so lucky that I got a chance in my career to know you and connect with you
Aw.
because not everybody, I always tell people, you work in New York or LA, people bring you a rack of clothes. They don't care what you buy, what you don't buy. Yeah, they might get a little personal with you, but they're not going to do what we do. They're not going to go deep. They're not going to ask you about your problems. They don't care about your problems. They want to know what you're going to buy. They'll show you how to put it together and have a nice day. And sometimes that's all people want. But I cannot, it's difficult to leave stones unturned. It's
Well,
difficult.
as stylists, we see people naked,
Yes.
literally,
Yes.
right? So, and it's like the hair, people who do hair or whatever, like we see people naked. And so I think it's just part of the whole process. You know what I mean? It's part of the connection. And I'm all about connection. And, you know, I love what I do. I love making people feel better about themselves. It makes me feel better about myself too. So it's just a win-win, I think.
So I know I see behind you, for those of you who are tuning in and please go to our YouTube channel, Fashion Crimes Podcast, and watch the video because you can see the hundreds of necklaces behind Stacey's head. I want to just give some quick tips. I know, a million necklaces, so much jewelry. I've never seen so much jewelry in my life. And then she's got the tool chest, like what Jonathan has in the garage with all those tools in it. All of that is full of jewelry. So, can you give us some tips on what types of jewelry people should have in their wardrobe? Can you give us some of your favorite pieces, what you like to keep the most?
To me, jewelry is the most sacred thing because, like I said before, everything has a deeper meaning. Like this morning when I got up, I put my snake on because that has a meaning about shedding skin and transforming and going on. And like, again, everything that I do, there's always a positive meaning in it. There's always there's nothing scary. And so for me, jewelry really is just that connection to an experience that you're having. So it's personal. It's like a thumbprint. So some people like dainty jewelry. I'm not really a dainty person. I don't really wear dainty jewelry. I'm like more is more. I mix gold and silver and rose gold. Like I've got like a gazillion different things on. So jewelry is a form of expression. I don't think that there's anything right, wrong, or indifferent or any piece that you should or you shouldn't have. I just think it is what you were drawn to. And if there's a piece that you've had for 20 years, you don't wear it that often and you pull it out, you should be able to pull it out and wear it. And it should mean what it meant to you before.
I think the biggest fashion crime is when people don't have any jewelry. I'm like,
I
where's
agree.
your
I sort
stuff?
of agree with that. Right. I agree with that because it really can transform everything for sure. Yeah. You have a black t-shirt and you put that on with a long necklace and a jacket and it can become dressier. You wear it with a pair of jeans and a little choker and it's like sporty. So yeah, I'm 100%. If I could have nothing else except for black in my closet, which is fine with me, I would have just tons of jewelry.
You are very into jewelry. You do
I
wear,
love my jewelry.
yeah,
I
you do
love my
wear a lot.
jewelry.
And I
Mhm.
do love to let people know it's okay to mix costume with real because when you do
100%.
that, it makes your costume look real to me.
I mean, yeah, I mean, but jewelry is jewelry to me. If it's shitty looking, it's shitty looking. Do you know what I mean? But like if you're mixing things, like people will be like, "Can I wear these together?" I'm like, "Do you like it? Do you like it together? If you like it together, then yes." There's no right and wrong with jewelry.
Okay,
Not for me.
one more accessories question.
Yeah.
I have a girlfriend, shout out to Vienne of Vienne Milano Italian thigh high stocking. She's one of our first fashion besties. Opaque tights or hose? Because hosiery and sheer stockings have been back for a while. Do you have a preference?
I have a really hard time with the sheer stockings. I feel like they have a time and a place, but I have a hard time with sheer stockings because then you got to go back to the shoes and it's what kind of shoe. Like I, if I had to choose, I would say tights all day long.
I think tights are never out. I just want to put that disclaimer out. Opaque tights are not a fashion
Correct.
crime, even
Correct.
though everyone on the runway is showing sheer stockings because for this generation, it's new. They don't come from the leg egg pantyhose at the
Yeah.
thrift
Oh my
store.
God. Yeah.
They don't come from that.
Right.
So
Right.
they have no idea about 18-hour bras, or that is not the generation they came from. So they're looking at sheer stockings and they wear them to the VMAs and
I
they
think
wear them to the Oscars.
it has a time and a place. Do you
And
know what I mean?
I
It's
was in shock, but our friend Vienne Milano, she sells these really fabulous thigh high stockings, and some of those are printed and that. And I love
yeah,
fishnets and I love printed
me
stockings.
too.
So I just was curious because I think for the younger women, I think if you're 30
It's
and
a look.
it
It's
is
a
a
look,
look. It
right?
is.
It's a
It is
look. I mean, if you're wearing black sheer stockings and if you're wearing black sheer stockings and you put on like a red shoe, it's no good. Do you know what
correct.
I mean? Like, I think the shoe really has to blend in. I don't like it when the shoe stands out, and then so it's a little bit of a weird thing, but I think it's a look.
Do you, and this is really my last question. I just want to talk about swimwear really quick. Is that something that you
Uh,
sell?
no, I don't sell swimwear. I despise swimwear because
Despise.
unless you have a body that is easy to fit, swimwear is difficult. I wear personally tennis skirts and like little tennis tops with built it. That's what I don't like,
In the
one piece.
pool? In the pool?
Yeah. Yeah.
Got it.
Yep. That's my bathing suit. And it it helps cover my ass. It makes me feel more comfortable. I'm not, like that's my look. Bathing suits to me, they cut your stomach, they cut like I just don't like anything super tight on my body.
Got it.
Um, so I do not sell them.
I like that. So if you go to the beach, you wear like a bikini top or a tankini
No,
and a skirt.
I wear like a tennis outfit, basically.
Okay, I love that's cute. I love that. And I
Yeah.
think swim skirts are, I mean, you're saying it's a tennis skirt, but swim skirts are very on trend right
Yeah.
now. And I think that that's a really cute look. So I like to help people with swimwear if they need it, because
Some are
I,
so hard.
it's
It's like
hard.
It's like jean shopping.
It is hard, but to get people to understand that what they actually can wear and feel good in, I think it is a very easy subject to say, I'm just not doing that. I'm not doing it.
I think that with everything in life, if you think outside the box, you can find a solution for something. I'm a fixer,
Amen. Amen to that.
right? So like I'm a fixer. For me, I'm not putting a bathing suit on. What's my next option? Tennis skirt.
I love
Like
it.
it makes me feel sucked in and it works. So it's just a solution. So I like finding solutions for people. You know what I mean? You don't want to show your arms? That's fine. I'm going to find a solution for you.
I love that. I think that is
Mhm.
really great advice. And honestly, we probably would not know that you weren't wearing a bathing suit anyway, to be honest with you,
Right.
because it probably looks just like a regular bathing suit, as I have
Right.
seen that in several catalogs. I was just curious because I like to help people with that if they need that.
I mean, I have also to a wedding worn a pair of leggings, like Lulu leggings, but clean, like a new pair, and a silk tank, and like an amazing blazer and a ton of jewelry. And I
Love
wore
it.
that to a wedding and a pair of great shoes. So again, like there's solutions to things. It doesn't always have to be this black and white thing that you saw in a magazine or you see I could care less about trends. What fits you? What is your style? What are you comfortable in? And that's how I
I, I,
wrap it up.
I think that is such great advice. And we really look forward to hearing some of those style solutions from stylist Stacey Bell of the Style Sanctum next time on part 2, because I'm not done with you. How you like that? I am
I
so,
love it.
I
I
know,
love it.
I am so not done because, I like to ask you, I think you have a very different approach from me as far as what you think looks good, what you're going to let walk out the door. And I love hearing your take on things. If you have somebody with a problem, you're going to find a solution.
Yep.
And
I'm all about perspective.
I love that about you. We have to talk about shoes. We have to talk about bags. We have
Okay.
to talk about
Okay.
jeans. We have to talk about all that. But I don't want to kill everybody because this is a very long episode. So Will you come back to the Fashion Crimes podcast, Miss Stacey?
Of course.
Thank you so much.
Anytime you want me.
We loved having you and loved hearing your perspective on how to help women, how you read energy, and how you really just help people reclaim that. And I mean, just if somebody was asking me about you, would be the first thing I would say. Yes, she has a warehouse inventory of clothes that are amazing, but that is what part of what she does. But what she really does is put you in a place where your guard can be down if you so choose. And she will help you, go through the weeds and get you to the finish line. Whatever your goal is, would that be an accurate elevator pitch for you?
Yep.
Great.
Yep.
I know social media isn't your favorite, but how can we find you on social media?
Everything is under the Style Sanctum. My website, Instagram, Facebook, it's all the Style Sanctum.
Okay, amazing. If you want to connect with Stacey Bell, please do so, because here we are women supporting women. That is what we do. We don't say, well, she does the same thing as me. Well, I don't want to talk to her because she might steal my clients. We don't play that. There is more than enough in this world to go around for everyone 57,000 times.
Yeah,
so if you are a woman who supports women and small-owned brands and small-owned businesses, good for you. We want to hear from you at the Fashion Crimes Podcast. Please connect with us on social media. I keep complaining and bitching. If y'all could please leave me a review on Apple Podcast, that would be amazeballs. I would love that. Share this with somebody you know. Please consider signing up for our newsletter. We love talking to you, Stacey. Thank you so much for joining us. Great. Thank you so much for joining us. And we will see you next week on the Fashion Crimes Podcast with the only Holly you need to know, the hostess with the mostest. I am Holly Katz. We guys are out. We will see you next week. Have a fabulous, fabulous, fashionable week. Bye.